Okay, everybody. So while the New Jersey State Police is chasing people on the highway, I would like to answer a question about converts to Judaism and where they can come from and what's the whole concept. Do you drop into the world out of nowhere? What's going on?
Like, where does your soul come from?
Where does your soul
How do you
come
know your
from?
soul is Jewish? Kind of
How do you know your soul is Jewish? Yeah. So my wife is a camera woman. A woman. And she is asking me to talk about it. So bottom line is, where the souls of Jewish converts come from? They come, one of the ways the soul of a Jewish convert comes about is the situation where Abraham Avinu, 3,000 I would say 3,500 years ago, more than that, he went around teaching people about God. And so you have a bunch of people who learned about God, and their soul basically ended up becoming Jewish because they learned about God, but their body could not. Why? Because the only way you could become Jewish those days was being Abraham's biological child. That's the only way, actually. The whole concept of conversion and everything did not exist because the Torah was not given yet. The whole legalities of conversion to Judaism did not exist. So the only way these people could become Jewish was, first of all, learn about God with Abraham. So after they learned about God, their soul basically became Jewish, but the body also needs to become Jewish. You can't just have the soul being Jewish. You gotta have the body also being Jewish. So obviously those people passed away, and then the next reincarnation, they had the chance to convert to Judaism while having that pre-prepped soul that learned under Abraham. So hopefully that clears things up. So again, to summarize, all the souls of converts are from the souls of people who learned Torah with Abraham Avinu, and they didn't have a choice. I mean, they did not have a way to become Jewish, as I said, because at Abraham Avinu's time, the only way you can become Jewish was to be his child. And they couldn't, go into Sarah's womb and become their child, so it's not practical. So that's how converts come about. Thank you.
Also, one more thing.
My wife.
We were talking. No, because we were talking about how whatchamacallit? How do you know that your soul is a Jewish soul? And there's really no way of knowing until you actually.
Okay, that's the whole answer, the whole question of how do you know if your soul is a Jewish soul. There's no way of knowing if your soul is a Jewish soul. If in this world things materialize in this world, in this physical world, where you do end up meeting a rabbi, and do end up getting a circumcision and go to the mikveh, and you do end up becoming Jewish, then it was meant to be. You were meant to be Jewish. If you feel like becoming Jewish, if you feel strongly about it, but God forbid, somebody passes away before they become Jewish, then it was not meant to be. But is it possible that their soul is Jewish and they just did not get that opportunity? I would lean to say yes. So end of the day, you cannot know if you have a Jewish soul until you become Jewish. But once you become Jewish, you can be 100% reassured that you are Jewish. You're meant to be Jewish. Your soul is Jewish, and you are Jewish. It's very similar to. The whole concept of how do you know if the person you're married to is your soulmate? You will never know until the moment the ring is put on the finger. You just don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is what happens in the physical world, as in the ring being put on, going to the mikveh. These are actually not just physical things. They mean something legally, Jewish wise. It's very similar to when a police officer takes an oath, puts his hand up and takes an oath. Putting the hand up means something. It's more than just picking up this arm and going like this. It means something. The same way, the only way you can know if you're Jewish is if you go through the process and you become Jewish. Yes, you are.
If you pursue it.
If you pursue it like it's a treasure that you know is hidden there. But if you know that there's $30 million hidden on this highway right now, with cars going right in the middle of the highway underneath like 10 feet, you'd come up with some idea to dig up, even though it's a highway and even though cars are passing on it 24/7, you will find a way to get to that $30 million. It's the same way. So I guess to summarize, yes, if you become Jewish, then you for sure have a Jewish soul. If somebody passes away and is it possible they had a Jewish soul and did not get a chance to become Jewish? Yes, there is a possibility. Do we have any written down that if somebody has a Jewish soul, they will become Jewish before passing away? I do not see it, but I cannot confirm or deny. I just can't say anything. I would be guessing about it. I can look into it, but it makes more sense that if somebody has a Jewish soul, if somebody does have a Jewish soul, then it makes sense that God will put them in a situation where they will end up becoming Jewish, because there is really no purpose of sending a Jewish soul into this world where it dies as a non-Jew. It's sending a Jewish soul into a non-Jewish body, and when it dies as a non-Jew without going through the whole process of conversion, I don't see a purpose in it. Again, I could be wrong, but it doesn't make sense to just send a Jewish soul down. So it's kind of, there's no answer to this question. I'm only a Rebbe or somebody in a higher spiritual level can answer this question. But again, there's one thing that we can be sure is if somebody becomes Jewish, goes through the whole process, goes through the whole worldly process of meeting a rabbi, phone calls, running around, buying books, everything. They do become Jewish, then that's it. They are Jewish. They were meant to be, they are Jewish, period. Okay, thank you while I go back to driving on the highway.